Welcome to our training video on unconscious bias, developing awareness, and taking action for a healthier future for all. My name is Donna Mac, and I've been working in the world of communication all my life. In the media, as an executive communication coach, workforce trainer, and certified mindfulness teacher. Today we're going to tap into our minds and explore how we think, which is what we call internal communication. This is important because how we think and communicate with ourselves is directly related with how we communicate with others. As we begin, let's take a look at the world around us. There is so much that is separating us as humans. This will continue to escalate unless we stop, become keenly aware that there are steps we can take to become less divided and more united. No one else is going to do this work for us. We must become radically responsible for seeing the problem clearly and becoming part of the solution. We know there's not another individual on earth who is exactly like we are. We're all different. It's always going to be this way. It's the intention of this video to bring to light the reality of unconscious bias as we continue to navigate the 21st century, and to bring health and well-being to more people through awareness and action steps for a better future. There's a natural resistance to avoid recognizing biases, but biases are real. Biases are social stereotypes we have about certain groups of people. Prejudice, judgments for or against a person or group in a way that's usually considered unfair, but we don't know it because it's unconscious or in our subconscious, just under the surface of our awareness. It's like putting on dark glasses. Those glasses block what we can see. Today we're going to take those dark glasses off to become aware and see more clearly. This way, we'll be able to get a better understanding of all human beings and communicate and work in healthier ways with customers, clients, and colleagues. Over the next few minutes, you'll learn where our unconscious biases originate and how they have become embedded in the way we live and work. How unconscious bias is holding us back from being a better company and better people to those around us. What we can do to begin to think and communicate in healthier ways so we can diminish the biases we may have against others who are different. It's important to note, none of us may do this perfectly today. So as we begin to address this issue, here are some thoughts to keep in mind. As you become more aware of unconscious bias and begin to take steps to diminish it, we encourage you to think about it often, to talk about it with someone in management or on the leadership team. And if you think there's something we're missing, please communicate that to us. Also, we realize there can be a fine line between possible biases and true reason for concern. In every work-related interaction, our ultimate goal is to keep everyone safe. You, your colleagues, our customers, and clients. So anytime safety is in doubt, whether it be physical or emotional, trust yourself and please speak up. Communicate often. We are here for you. We're confident that this is what will lead to clarity, greater understanding, and will help us break through the issue of unconscious bias that has permeated our society. So where do our biases come from? Our biases, or our attitudes towards people, are learned. Listen to this true story about an older gentleman, today in his 80s, who shared honestly with us about his family's biases. He admits that prejudices, even bigotry, were very prevalent in his family when he was growing up. For example, he said his father was a good man, but very prejudiced against African Americans. When we asked this man why, he wasn't sure, But the good news is that this man says he has fewer biases than his father. Although he admits he still struggles with thinking more negatively about Black Americans. He also said his view of women's role in society has changed dramatically over the years. He said that when he was growing up, he learned that men were the more dominant gender, and at his current age, he still might have some of those preconceived notions. But today, he's clear that his view of women, people of color, and other people who are different has improved. It's evolved. Also, today he said his adult children have even fewer biases than he had at their age. And his millennial grandchildren have little or no prejudices against others who are different. Different genders, different ethnicities, sexual preferences, ages. Though, with a wink, this man said that his grandchildren sometimes think they have more knowledge than their parents or their grandparents. Yes, prejudices are often learned from parents, teachers, TV, society. Most of our unconscious biases are learned, therefore can be unlearned. This will not happen overnight or tomorrow. But we can make some steady progress towards becoming consciously aware and then deliberately making better, healthier choices to communicate more effectively. Biases are antiquated habits of thought learned through conditioning and can be unlearned or reversed. How do biases slow us down and hold us back? Here's the science behind it. Several decades ago, 2 researchers set out to prove that our biases could affect reality and create self-fulfilling prophecies, or a prediction that causes itself to become true. Here's what those researchers did. Doctors Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson gathered 100 students and 5 teachers at the beginning of a school year. The teachers were told that a portion of their students had recently excelled on an IQ test and were intellectual bloomers, which meant they'd learn much quicker than their classmates. The teachers got excited about those kids with the higher IQs. Fast forward till the end of the school year, and not surprisingly, those kids did excel and outperform the other children. Then the teachers were told the truth. The so-called intellectual bloomers were actually just kids chosen at random. But because they were told those kids were special, the teachers had higher expectations of them and treated them differently, which proved the researchers' theory. Higher expectations lead to better treatment, which leads to higher productivity and results. Lower expectations lead to lesser treatment and lower productivity and results. Unconscious bias. What can we do about it? Here's an exercise in diminishing unconscious bias, an action step you can take. Slow down for a moment. Take a deep breath and think about all the people you know at work, from colleagues to customers to clients. Now, zero in on the people who are different, people you may have lower expectations of. People of different ages, genders, from different cultures, or with different sexual preferences or ethnicities. Take another deep breath and know that the way we view and value people is largely driven by our beliefs and thoughts. Thoughts that could be outdated and could lead to lower expectations of others. This is what we call antiquated thinking. These are habits that we learned and often stem from the way we were conditioned in the past. Today, let's look forward and take the steps we need to take to break old habits and to evolve, to become the kind of people we aspire to be. Humans can begin this evolutionary process by becoming well aware of their thoughts and being thoroughly honest. Do you see how biases can affect us negatively? Do you want to diminish, or in some cases even extinguish biases and become part of the solution? We hope so, and encourage you to begin by making a pact with yourself. Remember, this training is about awareness and action for a better future. So let's do the work that needs to be done to continue to be as mindful as possible of biases. And let's take time to envision a world that accepts and encourages differences, the uniqueness of every individual. As you become more aware of your unconscious mind, it's also helpful to start to become curious. So take a moment to ask yourself how you are feeling about the people you encounter at work. Think about your colleagues, customers, and clients, people inside your company, and externally as well. Here, we'll ask you to take another breath now and choose one person you might have a bias against. Someone you may have a judgment towards. Someone you may think about or communicate with or treat differently. We recommend you make note or even write about the specifics of what you're thinking and feeling. What is your internal communicator saying about this person? What judgments come up? Where do you think those judgments come from? How do those judgments impact the way you act or behave? Do you think there's a chance that you could be thinking about that person or treating them unfairly? Remember, this exercise is confidential. It's between you and you. Now, take another deep breath and think about that person with the intent of finding one thing you might appreciate about them. Is there something that makes them interesting? If you knew them better, might you even have something in common? Where might you be aligned with that person who is different? On the next deep breath, slow down a bit and think about the next time you encounter this person. Could you make a different choice about how you'll treat that person? Could you communicate with them differently? Might you even be able to tell them what you appreciate about them? Please continue to take note. What would you say as you consider updating your choices? Breaking old habits. This is how we navigate this evolutionary process. The T in the word pact reminds us that uncovering unconscious bias means you trust yourself to be honest. You know that this process will take time. And when you do your part to work on this issue that's been so unfair to so many for so long, the one thing you could do differently is talk. Talk differently to the person. Ask some questions. Could they tell you one thing about their life they're proud of? That they struggle with? Tune in. As humans, it's so easy to focus on our differences. Let's notice our differences and take a moment to celebrate them. We are different, and we embrace those differences, the unique qualities and perspectives of each individual. How boring life would be if we were all the same. We are all different humans, doing the best we can with the current skills we have, and we're acquiring new skills to become aware and to diminish our biases while harnessing our humanity. Meanwhile, with your family and friends, continue to talk about unconscious bias, the devastation it's caused, and the fact that we are in the process of changing, of putting a stop to it. Biases, bigotry, racism. These are lofty issues, and can be healed over time with attention, energy, and effort. This is what we stand for, and we need your help because the more people we have heading in the same direction, the quicker we'll experience results. In review, we have acquired much of our unconscious biases through the way we were conditioned, what we learned from parents, from TV, and biases can be unlearned or reversed. We know unconscious bias is holding us back from being better employees and kinder and fairer people to those around us. Diminishing biases will take work, thorough honesty of what we're thinking and feeling about others, and we have the PACT process to guide us in our efforts. Breaking antiquated communication habits is not easy work. There's a reason why we often hear people saying the phrase, "we're in a rut." It's easy for our minds to default to negative thinking and lower expectations. According to neuroscientists, the ruts in our minds run deep. But with awareness and consistent action to make healthier choices, we can build new ways of thinking and ways of being towards our fellow human beings. Imagine a world without biases. If we all work together on behalf of ourselves and each other, what would that mean to you? What if you helped someone to see who they are instead of who they aren't? To have higher expectations of people, of ourselves, and others. Imagine if we all lived this way. Developing unconscious bias awareness starts with each individual and with honesty. This is an honorable thing to do, and we are an honorable company, and we're leading the charge. It's easy to see who others aren't instead of who they are. It's easy to see who we aren't instead of who we are. Today, this might be the human condition. But remember, we're reconditioning and rewiring for a healthier future for all people. It's easy to view our fellow humans as either superior or inferior. But remember, we're just different. And stronger, with much more potential when we're aware of our thoughts and when we take action to communicate effectively for a healthier future for all.